She found him roped to a kill pen fence, his head hanging, eyes dull, too weak to eat. The horse her father sold for $50 was hours away from a slaughter truck. She reached out, whispering his name, and he leaned into her chest like he remembered. But what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. Madison Granger was 17 and had grown up with one constant in her turbulent rural Arkansas life, a chestnut gelding named Dakota. He wasn't a show horse. He wasn't bred for racing or rodeos, but he was hers. A hand-me-down from her late mother, a rescue horse with a crooked back leg and eyes that always looked like they understood more than they let on. When her mom died 3 years ago, Dakota became her grief's anchor. She brushed him every day, fed him better than she fed herself, told him secrets the world didn't deserve to hear. Her dad, Brian, didn't care for animals. He called Dakota a hay-burning lawn ornament and swore he was going to get rid of him one day. One morning, she came home from school and the paddock was empty. She thought he'd broken through the fence. She checked the woods, the road, the ditches. When Brian finally came out of the barn with a half-drunk beer in hand and no expression at all, she asked, breath tight, "Where's Dakota?" "Gone," he said flatly. "Sold him." She stared at him like he'd said he sold her brother. "You what?" "Sold him. Some guy offered $50. Said he could use him for something. Horse was useless anyway." $50. The betrayal stung worse than death. Madison's hands trembled. "What kind of person sells a living creature for $50? Brian shrugged. "One who's sick of shoveling shit." She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Not in front of him. But when she got back to her room, she vomited into a plastic trash bin and punched a dent in her closet door. Her fingers bled. And still, the ache in her chest only got louder. That night, she didn't sleep. She opened her laptop and started searching every livestock auction, horse forum, and rescue center across 3 counties. Because she knew one thing for certain: you don't sell an old gelding with a limp for $50 unless you're selling him for something far worse than riding. The next morning, Madison skipped school and biked 8 miles to the county library. Her data plan was dead, and her dad sure as hell wasn't letting her on the Wi-Fi. She spent 5 hours scouring forums for backyard dealers, livestock auctions, and low-end equine transports. She messaged strangers. She posted on Craigslist. She called small-town feed stores, pretending to be an interested buyer. No one had heard of Dakota, until she hit a thread buried on a Facebook group called Arkansas Kill Pen Watch List. A blurry photo stopped her cold. There, roped to a fence, was a sunken chestnut horse with a faint white streak down his nose. Dakota's marking. His legs were muddy. His head was low. His eyes were gone. Not blind, just empty. Like someone had flipped a switch and turned the light off behind them. The caption read, "Number 214. Older gelding, probable pasture pet, poor leg condition. Shipping to slaughter Thursday if not sold. $120 bail." Her stomach dropped through the floor. Kill pen. That's where backyard dealers dump unwanted horses. They're bought by meat buyers and loaded onto trucks. Destination, Mexico or Canada, where slaughter is still legal. They're electrocuted, stunned with bolts, or worse. Some never make it past the border. Broken legs, heat exhaustion, starvation. Brian had sold Dakota to someone who sent him to die. And Dakota would be on that truck in 2 days. Madison's hands shook as she pulled out her wallet. $41, crumpled bills and quarters. She biked home fast enough to tear her own lungs. When she burst through the door, Brian didn't even flinch. "I know where he is," she said, chest heaving. "You sold him to a kill buyer." He blinked. "A what?" "They're going to slaughter him, you son of a bitch." Brian scoffed and took another swig. "It's just a damn horse." That's when she screamed. Full body, raw, the kind of sound you can't unhear. He was the last part of Mom I had. He didn't respond. He just turned the TV up. She left, slamming the door so hard it cracked the frame. She had $41, a stolen phone charger, and one night to raise the rest. Because if she didn't, Dakota's eyes would close for the last time in a steel trailer bound for hell. By midnight, the whole town had seen Madison's post. She had uploaded Dakota's photo to every local Facebook group that would let her in. Ozark County Horse Chat, Southern Rescue Alerts, even Mom Talk Arkansas. Her caption was short and razor sharp. My dad sold my childhood horse to a kill buyer for $50. He's shipping out tomorrow. I have $41. I need $79 more to bail him. Please, I'll work it off. I just want him home. Then she added what she'd never told anyone, not even her best friend. He was my mom's horse. She died when I was 14. Dakota was all I had left of her. And the comments started rolling in. A woman in her 60s Venmo'd her $5 and said, I lost my mare last year. This broke me. A trucker from Louisiana sent $20 and wrote, He looks like my old boy. God bless. An anonymous PayPal link dropped her the rest before dawn with a message, Go get him, kid. He deserves better. At 6:12 a.m., she wired the bail to the kill lot. At 7:40, she hitched a ride with a hay supplier heading toward the holding pens. At 9:03, she stepped into the dust-choked yard where old horses stared like prisoners. She walked past fly-bitten draft mares, foals too skinny to stand, a stallion with a bullet scar behind his ear. And then she saw him. Dakota didn't lift his head, didn't blink. His body was there, but his soul was halfway gone. Hey, she whispered. It's me. No reaction. She took one step closer, then another, until her fingertips brushed the edge of his muzzle. He flinched. Dakota, she said again, her voice cracking. I came back. He turned. It wasn't a moment for the cameras. There was no galloping reunion, no triumphant neigh. He just leaned forward, slow and unsure, and placed the weight of his head against her chest like a dying man surrendering to warmth. She didn't cry. Not there. Not in front of the horses that wouldn't be saved. But she held him. And when the trucker from the kill lot came out with the release slip, he paused. You're the girl from the post? She nodded. He looked at the gelding, then back at her. He stopped eating yesterday. We figured he gave up. Madison ran her fingers over Dakota's cheek. He didn't give up, she said. He was waiting. Dakota's hooves dragged on the trailer ramp, his body unsteady, but Madison didn't rush him. The driver offered to help load, but she shook her head. She stood beside the gelding, whispering with a calm so still it cut through the noise of snorting horses and clanking steel. He walked up on his own. The ride home was long. The hay guy didn't speak much, just nodded toward the road and turned up the classic rock. Madison sat in the truck bed with Dakota, stroking the matted fur above his shoulder, whispering anything. Memories, plans, apologies. Things her father never let her say out loud. When they pulled into the Granger Ranch, Brian was in the yard with a cigarette in his mouth and a rake he wasn't using. He squinted. What the hell is that? She jumped down, snapped the trailer latch, and dropped Dakota's ramp. He backed out like a ghost walking through the past. You brought that thing back? Brian spat, waving the smoke from his face. I sold him. I had a right. Madison walked past him like he was air. You don't sell family, she said, not looking back. You just lost yours. That night she slept in the barn. Dakota didn't eat much, didn't drink much either, but his head stayed up, and when she sang that lullaby her mom used to hum while brushing him, low and broken and flat. He flicked his ears and turned toward her. He remembered. Over the next week, Madison nursed him like she was stitching her own soul back together. Bran mash, warm water, slow walks under the oak tree. He never bolted, never spooked, just followed her like he finally believed he was allowed to stay. The town kept checking in. Folks brought bags of feed, left cards in the mailbox, offered work and rides and support. Strangers drove by just to glimpse the old chestnut standing free again. And Brian? He watched through the window, bitter and silent. The house was quieter now. Maddie didn't cook for him, didn't clean, didn't speak. She didn't need his permission anymore. By spring, Dakota had put on weight. His limp hadn't disappeared, but he could trot in short bursts. One afternoon, he whinnied at the sound of her boots, loud, demanding. She laughed, the first real one in years. And if anyone asked about the dent in her closet door, she just smiled and said, "That's where I buried the girl who was too scared to fight."